Hey everyone, Noah St. John here from noahstjohn.com and affirmations.com, and welcome to the Ask Noah St. John show right here on noahnation.com. I am here on noahnation.com every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, where I answer your questions about how to get rid of your head trash, how to get unstuck, find your voice, and automate your business so you can have more time freedom, personal freedom, and financial freedom. Hello again and welcome. Again, my name is Noah St. John from noahnstjohn.com and affirmations.com. So welcome to today's Ask Noah St. John show. Now today, on the Ask Noah St. John show, I'm going to continue my look at one of my favorite books in personal growth and personal development, and that is How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. Now, this book has been with me for many, many years, decades in fact, because I grew up as a worrier. I grew up in a worrying household with a worrier mom, and she taught us kids how to worry all the time. And so I grew up with that just constant state of worry and not enough and fear and lack. And that sucked. And so I really didn't like that way of living. I knew there had to be a better way, but I didn't know what it was. And so this is one of the books that really helped me get through some very hard times of my life. So that's why I'm sharing this with you, and I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am enjoying it. I love doing these programs with you, and I love answering your questions. So make sure that you send me some smiley faces, make sure you send me some thumbs up, and make sure you send me some hearts, and ask me anything you like here on noahnation.com, because I am here to answer your questions about how you can have more time freedom, personal freedom, and financial freedom. Now, today we are in the section called How to Break the Worry Habit Before It Breaks You. Now, today's chapter is entitled How to Crowd Worry Out of Your Mind. How to crowd worry out of your mind. Now, here is a story that Dale Carnegie shares in this book. I shall never forget one night when Marion J. Douglas was a student in one of my classes. He told us how tragedy struck his home not once but twice. The first time he had lost his 5-year-old daughter, who he adored. He and his wife thought they couldn't endure that first loss, but then 10 months later, God gave us another little girl, and she died in 5 days. This double bereavement was almost too much to bear. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't rest or relax. My nerves were utterly shaken and my confidence gone. He went to doctors. One recommended sleeping pills, another recommended a trip. He tried both, but neither helped. He said, my body felt as if it were encased in a vice, and the jaws of the vice were being drawn tighter and tighter. The tension of grief. If you've ever been paralyzed by sorrow, you know what he meant. But thank God I had one child left, a 4-year-old son. He gave me the solution to my problem. One afternoon, as I sat around feeling sorry for myself, he asked, Daddy, will you build a boat for me? I was in no mood to build a boat. In fact, I was in no mood to do anything. But my son is a persistent little fellow. I had to give in. Building that toy boat took about 3 hours. By the time it was finished, I realized that those 3 hours spent building that boat were the first hours of mental relaxation and peace that I had had in months. That discovery jarred me out of my lethargy and caused me to do a bit of thinking, the first real thinking I'd done in months. I realized that it is difficult to worry while you're busy doing something that requires planning and thinking. In my case, building the boat had knocked worry out of the ring, so I resolved to keep busy. Good advice, huh? Now, the following night, he continues, I went from room to room in the house, compiling a list of jobs that ought to be done. Scores of items needed to be repaired: bookcases, stair steps, storm windows, window shades, locks, leaky faucets. Astonishing as it seems, in the course of 2 weeks, I had made a list of 242 items that needed attention. During the last 2 years, I have completed most of them, and I have filled my life with stimulating activities. 2 nights per week, I attend adult education classes. I've gone in for civic activities in my hometown. I'm chairman of the school board. I attend scores of meetings. I help collect money for the Red Cross. I am so busy now that I have no time for worry. That is exactly what Winston Churchill said when he was working 18 hours a day at the height of the war. When he was asked if he was worried about his tremendous responsibilities, he said, I'm too busy. I have no time for worry. So the point of this chapter, folks, is that the way to crowd worry out of your mind is to keep busy. Now, this is an important point, and he has a great quote here. The great scientist Pasteur spoke of the peace that is found in libraries and laboratories. Why is peace found there? Because the people in libraries and laboratories are usually too absorbed in their tasks to worry about themselves. Research people rarely have nervous breakdowns. They haven't time for such luxuries. Now, here we go. Watch this. This is very interesting. Why does such a simple thing as keeping busy help to drive out anxiety? Because of one of the most fundamental laws ever revealed by psychology. That law is, it is utterly impossible for any human mind, no matter how brilliant, to think of more than one thing at any given time. Don't believe it? Well, let's try an experiment. Suppose you lean back right now, close your eyes, and try at the same instant to think of the Statue of Liberty and of what you plan to do tomorrow morning. Go ahead, try it. You found out, didn't you, that you could focus on either thought in turn, but never on both simultaneously. Go ahead and try that, right? Statue of Liberty, what am I going to do tomorrow morning? Statue of Liberty, what am I going to do? Can't do it, right? You could focus on either thought in turn, but never on both simultaneously. Now, you can go pretty quickly, but you can't do them both together at the same time. This is what my friend Dave Crenshaw calls switch tasking, right? There is no such thing as multitasking. All we can do, we humans, all we can do is switch tasking. That means going back and forth from one thing to another, but we actually cannot do two things at once. He calls that the myth of multitasking. The same is true in the field of emotions. We cannot be pepped up and enthusiastic about doing something exciting and feel dragged down by worry at the very same time. One kind of emotion drives out the other. And it was that simple discovery that enabled Army psychiatrists to perform such miracles during the Second World War. When men came out of battle so shaken by the experience that they were called psychoneurotic, Army doctors prescribed keep them busy as a cure, or occupational therapy. Now, of course, things are very different now today when we talk about things like PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. I was talking with a veteran recently, and he told me that in the Second World War, that the average length of time, the average length of an engagement or deployment was 45 days. Well, today, right now, the average length of deployment is 1,000 days. Think about that for a second. From 45 days to 1,000 days. That's staggering. So, you know, to think that this keep them busy prescription will fix everything, of course, isn't true. We know that. But what I'm suggesting here in this chapter is, and I'm sure we've all seen this, right? I know that you have had a project. Let's say you're doing something, a project that really absorbs you. You know, like for me, it's writing. I love writing. And when I'm writing one of my books, you know, I've written at least 12 books now by last count. And when I'm writing a book, I am totally absorbed in that task, right? Because I imagine that I'm talking to my audience, that I'm reaching you, that I'm reaching across the miles, maybe to somebody on the other side of the world, and that I'm talking directly to them to help them with their problems. And so when I'm absorbed in that, my whole mind is completely absorbed. And that is what many research scientists now refer to as the zone, being in the zone. I'm sure we've all experienced that. So when you do something you love, when you're really absorbed in it, you enter that zone. And have you ever noticed that time just sort of goes away? Have you noticed this? Have you ever experienced being in the zone? If you have, send me a thumbs up, send me a smiley face, send me some hearts, right? So the point is, and this is what Dale Carnegie is getting to in this chapter, okay? Yeah, here's a great quote here from The Art of Forgetting the Unpleasant. A certain comfortable security, a certain profound inner peace, a kind of happy numbness soothes the nerves of the human animal when absorbed in its allotted task. Isn't that true? Like I said, so that's what we are, you know, many scientists now are calling or referring to as the zone. Have you ever been in the zone? What puts you in the zone? For me, it's writing. It's also speaking when I'm on stage. I mean, I could just speak for hours and hours. And, you know, like when I have my 2 or 3 day Live Your Dreams Summit events, when we have our live events, I mean, I could just speak all day. In fact, I hate getting off the stage. That's one of the reasons why, when it's at my events, at the most, there'll be one or two other speakers, but usually it's just me working with, a very small select group of people at a very intimate high level for 2 or 3 days. And the reason for that is I just love speaking so much. I don't want anybody else on stage. I want it to just be me. You see what I mean? So now that's for me. So what is it for you? What absorbs you? What puts you in the zone? What activity or what task puts you in the zone? All right. So if you and I don't keep busy, if we sit around and brood, this is back from the book here, we will hatch out a whole flock of what Charles Darwin used to call the wibberjibbers. And the wibberjibbers are nothing but old-fashioned gremlins that will run us hollow and destroy our power of action and our power of will. Okay? So, George Bernard Shaw, he ends this chapter by saying, George Bernard Shaw was right. He summed it up when he said, the secret of being miserable is to have the leisure to bother about whether you are happy or not. The secret of being miserable is to have the leisure to bother about whether you are happy or not. It's an interesting point, isn't it? Because, of course, here we are, we're all trying to live a life of leisure. But isn't it true that when we just sort of sit around and we're not busy, we're not doing something, we're not absorbed in something, that our mind does tend to go and go, man, and think of all the regrets and all the worries and all the things we didn't do and so on and so on. Isn't that true? I don't know. Do you agree or disagree with that? So don't bother to think about it. Spit on your hands and get busy. Your blood will start circulating. Your mind will start ticking. And pretty soon, this whole positive upsurge of life in your body will drive worry from your mind. Get busy and keep busy. It's the cheapest kind of medicine there is on this earth, and it's one of the best. To break the worry habit, keep busy, because the worried person must lose himself in action lest he wither in despair. The worried person must lose himself in action lest he wither in despair. So that would be today's lesson, folks, is to keep busy. Now, does that mean you should work all the time? Of course not. I'm the guy who invented and advocates using goal-free zones. Goal-free zones is a time and place in your life when you give yourself permission to stop, when you do give yourself permission to have some leisure. I know when Babette and I get to travel and go to all these fun places, and when we're lying on the beach in Jamaica or Los Cabos or, Punta Cana, when we go to all these really great places, it's really nice because, I do work a lot and I know you do too. And so is it good to have leisure? Of course it is. And what's even more important, I think, is when you get to share that with somebody, because I remember my client, Tim Taylor, he said that when he was lying on the beach and all he was doing was thinking about the fact that his life, or he felt he didn't have any purpose. And so then when he came back to the States and he began to work with me and I began to show him how he could have that purpose again and doing the process that I refer to as goal replacement surgery, that literally changed his life. And now he's built up a multi-7-figure business and he was able to do that in just about 2 years. So the point is that we have to have a balance. It's all about having a balance of keeping busy, keeping absorbed, and then having that leisure, having that time freedom. So this is just a new way to look at it. So tell me what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know what your thoughts are. And here's our affirmation of the day. So today's affirmation of the day is, why do I crowd worry out of my mind? Why do I crowd worry out of my mind? All right, so if you're interested in talking to me or one of my coaches and having us help you with getting you to where you want to go in life, whether it's in your personal life, in your relationships, in your health, your fitness goals, in your business, to help you productize your genius, get all those ideas out of your head and get them out to the earth so you can automate your business. You can have more time freedom, personal freedom, and financial freedom so you can do the things that you want to do when you want to do it, with whom you want to do it. That's what freedom really means. Just go to noahstjohn.com/apply and you can fill out the application to talk with me or one of my coaches, and we will see how we can help you reach your goals faster, easier, and with a lot less stress. All right, well, so for everyone here at successclinic.com, I'm Noah St. John signing off for today. We'll see you next time on the Ask Noah St. John show. And until then, I look forward to being a part of your success story. See you next time, everyone. Bye-bye for now.